I think on the hardware side, again, it's mobile robotics. So when you're here at the show, everybody demonstrates a mobile robot. The purpose of that, I think, will be the elimination of white spaces, right? So condensing or taking unproductive work out of people's schedule. So if I can, for example, have a robotic system loaded up and I just start it in the morning, that is much better than having to load it up and spend that time on that. Similarly, unloading and so on. So simple, mundane tasks that really help to get more efficiency. So that's one. And on the software side, I think it's all about how do I manage my lab. So I think these are things like experimental design. How do I take my manual method and transform it into a digital method that can be executed on a liquid handler or a platform? Then digital twinning, so having the assets I have in my lab in a digital format so that I can plan how the workflow goes and schedule that, right? Which leads to the next one, which is orchestration software. There has been a lot of talk about orchestration software. So what is orchestration software? Orchestration software is often compared to an orchestra, where you have certain sections of music players, trombones, fiddles, horns, whatever have you, right? And compare that with a lab, where you have certain functions of instruments, and the players are the operators, right? And even though they have all their note sheets and they play, there's the conductor that defines the timing when they come in, right? And that's the same in a lab. When does information have to be available, and how does it flow from one section to the other to enable collaboration, decision making, and so on. And then I think there's the final piece, which is data management and workflow software on an enterprise level. So what this is, it describes basically the connections of all the software pieces that are unique to a customer's lab, right? And that will enable communication, collaboration, and at the end, decision making. Coming to the second part of your question, right? AI. AI is certainly a tool, right? And is a tool that can be applied to everything. But I think in the context with drug discovery and development, I think it will play a part at the later end. Let me explain what I mean. So there's this paradigm of how does a sample or an assay go through a lab, right? So it is from sample or assay to result, which the instruments are doing, right? Very clear. And then the second step is from the result to knowledge, right? And that's typically the operator understands what they're doing. There's a lot of software already out there that helps to interpret the result. So the knowledge part is not so important, or it wouldn't say not so important, it's not such a barrier anymore. And then you have the final step, which is from having all those results to what do I do? What's my next experiment? What is my decision? And I think that's where the artificial intelligence with large data sets coming from multiple experiments and be aggregated and analyzed properly and support decisions will come in. Once this is resolved, then you can go into the famous design, build, test, learn cycle, where especially at the learning end, the artificial intelligence will come in, provide decision support to run the next experiment. And I say decision support because this is what I've described as a lab in a loop, right? Which still has humans in the loop, while there's also the self-driving lab, which is a vision that this all goes fully automatically, right? But nevertheless, there will be a tremendous increase in data and hopefully decisions that drive better drug candidates and optimize them faster. We have done some pilot studies internally, and so there are two elements to it. One's the robotic part, and then the digital analysis. And on the robotic part, or robotic platforms, you get an acceleration between 4 to 6 times, sometimes 10 times, versus a manual operation. When you then go into the automated data analysis, it really accelerates. You get acceleration between 40 and 100 times. And that is now understood that this has a profound impact on finding drug candidates faster, optimizing them. And if you imagine that you're able to run that out through your whole organization, that should have a very positive impact.